Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when you begin to notice something deeply unsettling. You start to see the subtle signs that the children you once raised, the very ones you sacrificed so much for, cradled in your arms when they were helpless, are beginning to pull away. Perhaps they no longer call as often, or they dismiss your advice with a casual shrug. Maybe, in the most painful moments, they even seem to resent you. This realization cuts deep because at our core, human beings are wired for connection. We build families with the understanding that in our most vulnerable times, there will always be someone there to lean on. Yet, what happens when those you counted on the most, the very people you nurtured, turn their backs on you? Before bitterness takes root, before you become resentful or lash out in anger, take a moment to pause and breathe. Stop and allow yourself the time to think deeply about this transformation rather than reacting impulsively. There's a path forward here, a way that doesn't involve anger, self-pity, or an emotional collapse, but one that calls for understanding and growth. When children begin to distance themselves from their parents, it can feel deeply personal and excruciatingly painful. After years spent providing nurturing care and guidance, their withdrawal may seem like a direct rejection of everything you've given. Yet, it is crucial to step back and try to understand what is really happening, rather than immediately reacting emotionally. Children are not static beings. They evolve over time in ways that are both inevitable and complex. Their perspectives shift, their priorities change, and their lives naturally become more intricate as they forge their own identities. The bond that once revolved around constant dependency gradually transitions into something different as they step into adulthood. Parents often expect the same level of attention and involvement that once defined the relationship, but as children grow, they begin to form their own identities and routines. This change is not necessarily a sign of disrespect or ingratitude on their part. It is simply part of the natural progression of life. It is a transition that calls for a re-examination of expectations, as well as an understanding of the evolving nature of human relationships. At the same time, it is important to acknowledge that the relationships we build are based on a lifetime of shared experiences. If a child is pulling away, it might be due to past interactions that left an indelible mark, conversations that felt dismissive, moments where they felt misunderstood, or even parenting styles that, though well-intentioned, created emotional distance. The truth is, no parent is perfect. There may have been times when discipline was too harsh or expectations were overwhelming. Personal struggles on your part might have also inadvertently affected the parent-child relationship. Recognizing these possibilities calls for humility and a willingness to reflect on past behavior, rather than reacting with immediate defensiveness. In doing so, you open the door to healing and the possibility of rebuilding trust. There is another factor to consider. Children, like all individuals, face their own battles. They may be overwhelmed by work stress, relationship challenges, financial pressures, or mental health issues that consume much of their energy. Sometimes their distancing isn't a direct rejection of you at all, but a necessary step for them to manage their own lives without additional emotional weight. Assuming that their withdrawal is a direct rejection of your love can be misleading. It may in fact be a manifestation of the pressures they face, making it all too easy to misinterpret their need for space as ingratitude. By seeking to understand their perspective rather than demanding an explanation, you can begin to bridge the emotional gap that has formed. Shift from reacting impulsively to responding with thoughtful care. In doing so, you create an opportunity to rebuild the relationship on more respectful and mutually beneficial terms. Instead of expecting them to return to you on your terms, work to create an environment where they feel safe, respected, and genuinely welcomed. One of the biggest mistakes parents often make when their children begin to distance themselves is using guilt as a tool to force reconnection. After all the sacrifices, the sleepless nights, the endless worry, and the deep investment of love, it is tempting to remind them of all that you have done. Yet, employing guilt as a strategy can backfire, driving them further away rather than drawing them close. Guilt as a foundation for any relationship is inherently toxic. When a parent repeatedly reminds a child of their sacrifices with phrases like, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me," it transforms the dynamic into one of obligation rather than love. No one, especially not a child, wants to feel manipulated by such emotional pressure. Instead of using guilt, consider shifting your mindset toward cultivating a relationship built on mutual value and respect. Think about the people you choose to spend time with. Friends, mentors, and colleagues with whom you share warmth, understanding, and positive energy. Apply the same standard to your relationship with your children. so that every interaction feels free of undue burden and full of genuine connection. If your children perceive every interaction with you as a source of emotional weight, they will naturally begin to avoid those moments. Conversely, if they associate you with warmth, wisdom, and a sense of understanding, they will be drawn to your presence. This approach does not require suppressing your emotions. Rather, it calls for communicating in ways that foster connection rather than guilt. For example, instead of saying, "You never call me," consider saying, "I always enjoy our time together and would love to see you more often." Replace statements of criticism with affirmations of your support and pride in them. By doing so, you lay the groundwork for relationships that flourish on mutual appreciation rather than obligation. Ultimately, the goal is not to force your children back into the relationship, but to create an environment where they naturally want to return. Relationships, especially between parents and children, should be built on love, mutual respect, and shared understanding, not on a foundation of guilt. When guilt is removed, there is room for real connection to grow, and respect, something that must be earned, can blossom naturally. Respect is not something that can be demanded. It must be nurtured through consistent actions and behaviors. Many parents assume that because they raised their children and provided for them, respect should be automatic. However, true respect is built over time through behavior, personal growth, and mutual understanding. If you desire your children to respect you, you must evolve into someone they naturally admire rather than someone they feel obligated to obey. One of the biggest reasons children start distancing themselves is that they perceive the relationship as stagnant, where every conversation centers on past complaints or judgments about their choices. This negative energy creates a dynamic that is more burdensome than supportive, prompting them to withdraw rather than engage. The solution then is to remain actively engaged in your own life. Continue learning, growing, and evolving, not out of a need to be trendy, but to cultivate a mindset that inspires and uplifts those around you. As you develop new skills and pursue interests that ignite your passion, you naturally earn the respect of those who observe your transformation. Children look up to parents who are strong, wise, and capable, not to those who rely solely on their past authority. It is also essential to communicate in ways that foster respect, rather than breed resentment. Avoid constant criticism or belittling their choices, as these behaviors will only lead them to see you as someone to defend against rather than someone to admire. Emotional control plays a crucial role in earning respect. People admire those who remain calm and composed in the face of adversity, rather than succumbing to anger or emotional outbursts. When disagreements or challenges arise, if you handle them with wisdom and patience, your children will see you as a source of guidance and stability. Being a person worthy of respect is a lifelong process that requires ongoing self-reflection and growth. When you focus on becoming someone of value, respect from your children and others will naturally follow. This transformation is not immediate, but it is essential for building lasting, meaningful connections. One of the hardest truths for any parent is accepting that their children are not mere extensions of themselves. They are individuals with their own thoughts, desires, and paths in life, and as they grow, they naturally seek independence. This independence often comes with a natural resistance to control, as children push back against any attempt to dictate their lives. Many parents hold the belief that because they raise their children, they have the right to control their decisions, even into adulthood. This mindset can manifest as persistent questioning of their life choices, criticism of their relationships, or an expectation that they behave in a manner that conforms to parental standards. However, control is ultimately an illusion. No matter how much you wish to influence your child's life, the final decisions must always belong to them. When parents refuse to accept this reality, it leads to frustration, tension, and ultimately distance. Children who feel overly controlled will either rebel openly or withdraw silently, avoiding interactions that feel like attempts to manage their lives. They may stop sharing details about their personal experiences, or even reduce the frequency of their visits, not out of malice, but as a defense of their own autonomy. The key to addressing this challenge is to shift from control to guidance. Instead of imposing your beliefs on them, share your wisdom and let them come to their own conclusions. Offer advice when asked, but refrain from forcing your opinions onto them. Trust that the foundation you have built together will guide them in making their own choices. Embrace the reality that children are not meant to complete a parent's life. They are meant to live their own. When you stop tying your entire sense of purpose and happiness solely to their presence, you create space for a healthier, more balanced relationship. This approach not only relieves the emotional burden on your children, but also paves the way for deeper, more respectful connections. At the same time, be aware that when a parent relies too heavily on their children for emotional fulfillment,
It can lead to feelings of loss and resentment when those expectations are not met. Expecting your children to be the primary source of your joy is not only unfair to them, but can also leave you feeling unfulfilled. By investing in your own passions and building a life that is rich with meaning, you become a person who is admired rather than simply depended upon. Cultivating interests outside of the parent-child dynamic, whether through hobbies, new friendships, community involvement, or rediscovering old passions, enriches your life and demonstrates that your happiness does not depend solely on your children. This self-investment creates a space where your children can come to you out of genuine desire, rather than obligation. By nurturing your own well-being, you model the value of self-care and independence, inspiring them to do the same. The best way to reconnect with your children is to become a person they naturally admire and appreciate. If you constantly chase their attention, they may take you for granted. However, if you focus on living with dignity and nurturing your own growth, they may eventually realize your true worth. Respect cannot be forced, and love cannot be demanded. It is earned through consistent positive interactions over time. When you remain calm in the face of disappointment, you signal an inner strength that is far more compelling than desperate outbursts. Emotional outbursts, guilt-tripping, or demands for attention only push your children further away. Instead, by focusing on self-growth and maintaining your dignity, you create an atmosphere of wisdom and stability that invites them to reconnect on their own terms. Recognize that your sense of worth should not be entirely dependent on your children's attention or validation. By taking responsibility for your own happiness and continuously striving for self-improvement, you set an example that is both admirable and inspiring. In doing so, you allow your children to see you as a person of value, rather than as someone who needs constant reassurance. The next step is to shift your energy towards self-improvement. Growth does not end when parenting duties diminish. It should continue throughout life. Embrace the opportunity to develop new skills, pursue passions you once set aside, and engage with the world in ways that make you feel truly fulfilled. Investing in your physical and mental health is essential for maintaining a rich and rewarding lifestyle. Read books, learn new things, and explore activities that spark joy and creativity. By cultivating a lifestyle that is balanced and self-sufficient, you not only enhance your own life, but also become a role model for others, including your children. When you become a person who is constantly evolving, you naturally earn respect. People, including your children, are drawn to those who are strong, capable, and engaged with life. They are not attracted to those who appear stagnant or overly dependent. Instead, they admire those who strive for continual growth and improvement. There is also an element of patience in this approach. Often people do not fully appreciate the value of something until they experience its absence. If you constantly chase after your children's attention, they may begin to take you for granted, missing the opportunity to truly value your presence. By stepping back and focusing on your own journey, you create a sense of dignity and self-respect that naturally draws them back to you. Respect cannot be forced. It must be nurtured through calm, composed interactions that reinforce your inherent worth. When your presence is steady, and your interactions are free from constant emotional drama, your children are more likely to seek your company voluntarily. It is essential to recognize that your children are not extensions of yourself. They are individuals with their own lives to live. They will grow up, form their own opinions, and carve their own paths in life, regardless of your expectations. Understanding this fundamental truth allows you to let go of the need to control every aspect of their lives. When you accept that your children will make their own choices, even if they diverge from what you envision, you free yourself from the burden of unrealistic expectations. This acceptance can ease the tension that often arises from trying to dictate their lives, leading to more harmonious relationships. It creates an environment where love is given freely, without the pressure of constant judgment or correction. Instead of trying to steer them with an iron hand, embrace a role of guidance and support. Offer your wisdom when asked, but allow them the freedom to learn from their own experiences. Trust in the foundation you have built together, knowing that true growth comes from personal discovery, rather than imposed direction. As you navigate this stage of life, it is important to invest in interests and passions that extend beyond your role as a parent. Rediscover hobbies, engage in social activities, and build new relationships that enrich your life. By doing so, you create a more balanced and fulfilling life that doesn't rely solely on your children for emotional validation. Building a rich, meaningful life outside of your parental role not only enhances your well-being, but also provides your children with a healthy example of independence and self-respect. They will see that your happiness is derived from within, and that your life is full of diverse sources of joy and fulfillment. This understanding encourages them to develop their own sense of identity, free from the pressure to complete your happiness. Ultimately, when your focus shifts to self-improvement and genuine self-care, the relationship with your children can evolve into one marked by mutual respect and admiration. They will come to see you not as someone who demands their constant attention, but as a person whose presence adds value to their lives. In turn, this creates a dynamic where respect and love grow naturally, without the need for guilt or emotional manipulation. Remember, true love is about giving freely, not possessing or demanding. When you build a life rich with meaning, and pursue your own passions, your children will view you as a source of inspiration rather than as a burden. This self-sufficiency is key to maintaining a balanced relationship where both you and your children thrive. When you stop depending on your children for validation and focus on cultivating your own inner strength, a remarkable transformation occurs. Your children begin to appreciate you for the person you are, a wise, capable, and emotionally resilient individual. They no longer see you as someone who must be managed, but rather as a respected and admired presence in their lives. The best way to reconnect with your children is to become a person they genuinely admire. Stay calm, maintain your dignity, and invest in your own growth. This approach creates an environment where your children will eventually return, not out of obligation, but out of a sincere desire to be with you. In every interaction, remember that love and respect must be nurtured over time. When you express your support and maintain your composure, you lay the groundwork for deeper, more meaningful connections. Avoid emotional outbursts or guilt-tripping, as these only serve to widen the gap between you and your children. Instead, let your presence be one of wisdom and stability, a beacon of strength that reassures them in times of uncertainty. When you focus on self-growth and remain committed to your own well-being, you create a positive, enduring impact on those around you. This not only improves your own life, but also fosters an environment where genuine relationships can flourish. As you shift your energy towards self-improvement, remember that growth is a lifelong journey. Develop new skills, pursue passions you once set aside, and engage with the world in ways that fill your heart with joy. Every step you take toward evolving into a better version of yourself earns you more respect and admiration from those around you. People naturally gravitate toward those who are in constant motion, those who are strong, capable, and continually seeking to improve. When you demonstrate this commitment to self-improvement, your children and others will see you as an inspiring role model. This positive energy fosters a sense of mutual respect and encourages everyone to strive for their own betterment. There is also an important lesson in patience. Often the true value of something isn't recognized until its absence is felt. If you constantly chase your children's attention, they may begin to take you for granted, missing the opportunity to truly value your presence. By stepping back and focusing on your own growth, you allow your presence. By stepping back and focusing on your own growth, you allow on their own terms. This in turn fosters an environment of genuine respect and admiration. Remember, respect cannot be forced, it must be nurtured through consistent, positive interactions over time. The transformation begins with the realization that your self-worth is not tied solely to your children's attention. When you invest in yourself, physically, emotionally, and intellectually, you reclaim the energy that is rightfully yours. This newfound strength radiates outward, creating a more balanced and fulfilling life for you and those around you. In the autumn of your life, embrace the truth. True happiness is not something handed to you. It is something you must claim for yourself. The sooner you accept that your self-worth comes from within, the sooner you can live your remaining years with the peace, freedom, and self-respect you deserve. Release the endless self-respect you deserve. Release the endless need for external validation you deserve. Release the endless need for external validation of values. External values, As you reclaim your energy and focus on this enough and knowing that you cannot enough ladies, the stage,
Every effort you make to nurture yourself creates a legacy of resilience and grace that will echo throughout your life. Let these reflections serve as a constant reminder that every moment of self-care and introspection builds a stronger, more fulfilled you. Embrace the power of genuine presence, and let your true character shine through in every action and every word. For in the quiet commitment to self-love lies the secret to a life of true beauty and lasting happiness. Now let's explore the art of complimenting, a subject often shrouded in hesitation and unspoken rules in our modern world. In our society, there exists a peculiar fear around giving genuine compliments, especially among young men who are taught to tiptoe around their natural instincts. They are often restrained, holding back on expressing admiration for fear of being perceived as improper or, even worse, manipulative. Yet, paradoxically, women, complex human beings with deep psychological structures, respond not to rehearsed, surface-level flattery but to something far more primal and true. The right words, when spoken with sincerity and confidence, have the power to electrify attraction. They resonate on a level that transcends physical appearances, reaching into the very core of emotional connection. Today, I want to share 3 forbidden compliments, words that many men fear to use, yet which hold the potential to change the way a woman sees you, and more importantly, herself. These words are not tricks or superficial flattery. They are reflections of a deeper truth and must be spoken with conviction or not at all. For example, when you tell a woman she has a dangerous mind, you are stepping into a realm that most men dare not enter. By saying she has a dangerous mind, you acknowledge that her intellect is not only impressive, but also potent enough to challenge the status quo. This compliment goes beyond the typical praise of calling someone smart or clever. It recognizes that her thoughts are disruptive in the best possible way, capable of shaking up complacency and introducing new perspectives. This statement is transformative because it signals that you are not intimidated by her power or intelligence. Many men, when faced with a strong, independent woman, either retreat into insecurity or attempt to compete with her. But a man who can confidently say that her mind is dangerous demonstrates a profound self-assurance that is both rare and magnetic. Such a compliment tells her that her intellect is not something to be hidden or downplayed. It affirms that her ideas and insights have weight, that they matter not just in private conversations but in the larger world. In that moment, she is invited to embrace her own strength, to recognize the disruptive power of her thinking as something extraordinary and inspiring. Another forbidden compliment is the powerful phrase, "You make me want to be a better man." This is not just an expression of admiration, it is a declaration of how deeply her presence influences you. When you say this, you reveal that her essence and the way she navigates the world inspire you to evolve and grow. Such a compliment carries an element of vulnerability, for it acknowledges that you are not perfect and that her impact on you is transformative. It suggests that she is not merely a passive recipient of your attention, but an active catalyst for your personal development. This dynamic shifts the relationship from mere admiration to one of mutual inspiration and shared growth. For this compliment to be effective, it must be genuine and deeply felt. It is not enough to recite these words as a rehearsed line. They must come from a place of true introspection. When your eyes meet hers and you express that her presence compels you to reach beyond your limitations, the words resonate in a way that no superficial praise ever could. By saying, "You make me want to be a better man," you are also inviting her to see herself as a source of strength and positive change. It elevates her from being just an attractive figure to being an essential part of your journey toward greatness. In that recognition, she feels both empowered and deeply connected, knowing that her influence is not only acknowledged but celebrated. Yet, with such powerful words comes great responsibility. They must be delivered with the utmost sincerity and reinforced through consistent actions. If your words are not matched by genuine effort to improve, they will come off as empty flattery, losing their transformative potential. Your behavior, whether in your career, personal habits, or everyday interactions, must validate the truth behind your compliment. Only then will she feel that your admiration is real, and that she truly inspires you to grow. This consistency between words and actions creates an unbreakable bond of trust and mutual respect. There is an element of exclusivity in these forbidden compliments that further deepens their impact. When you tell a woman, "I don't think you realize how rare you are," you are not offering a generic compliment. You are affirming her uniqueness. This statement implies that among countless faces, she stands out as irreplaceable and extraordinary. Such a compliment taps into one of the deepest human desires to feel seen as unique and special. It challenges her to recognize qualities in herself that she may have overlooked or taken for granted. This recognition can transform her self-perception, inspiring her to embrace her distinctiveness with pride. The intrigue created by such a statement invites deeper conversation. By leaving a bit of mystery as to why she is so rare, you stimulate her curiosity about her own unique qualities. This natural curiosity can lead to more meaningful interactions and a stronger emotional connection between you. When you deliver these forbidden compliments, you are not merely flattering her. You are affirming her value and the impact she has on your life. This kind of acknowledgement is rare and potent, for it goes beyond surface admiration to touch the very core of who she is. It tells her that she is not just appreciated for her external beauty, but for the unique force of her character that challenges and inspires. These words have the power to create a dynamic of mutual growth and respect. They shift the relationship from one of superficial attraction to a deep transformative connection, where both parties are inspired to evolve. In this interplay of genuine admiration and personal growth, the bond between you transcends ordinary interaction and becomes a catalyst for lasting change. Yet there is an inherent challenge in these words. They demand authenticity and vulnerability. You are inviting her into a space where you acknowledge your own imperfections and express a desire to grow because of her influence. This honesty is rare in a world where many hide behind facades of invulnerability. As you consider these powerful expressions, remember that true attraction is built on the courage to be genuine and the strength to grow. Let these words not be mere lines, but rather declarations of mutual respect and the shared pursuit of excellence. For in the realm of genuine connection, it is not just about how you compliment her. It is about how you inspire each other to reach new heights. In closing, understand that the art of giving forbidden compliments is a gateway to deeper transformative relationships. They invite both of you to embrace your true selves, to acknowledge your unique qualities, and to celebrate the potential for growth that exists within every interaction. When you tell a woman that she makes you want to be a better man, you are not only honoring her exceptional qualities, but also affirming your commitment to personal evolution. Now, as we reflect on these insights, remember that true communication transcends the limitations of everyday conversation. It is the quiet, intentional act of truly seeing another person for who they are, acknowledging the unique light they bring into your life. This deep recognition forms the foundation of relationships that are not only emotionally fulfilling but also enduring. May you go forth with a renewed commitment to authenticity, knowing that every heartfelt compliment, every sincere expression of admiration, is a step toward building relationships that enrich your life beyond measure. In doing so, you not only honor the remarkable beauty of those around you, but also contribute to a world where genuine connection and mutual respect reign supreme. For it is through these honest exchanges that we truly discover the depth of our humanity and the boundless potential for love and growth that lies within each of us.